Hello friends, I think this is gonna be most exciting video of this channel till now, because in this video we will talk about open source project, GSoc projects, as well as how can we achieve or we can convert this experience into a placement and job. So today Vaibhav Singh is with us. He is software developer in browser stack. Vaibhav, could you please introduce yourself?
So hey guys, I'm Vaibhav and I'm currently a software engineer in BrowserStack. And to be honest, I was an average student till third year, and after third year there was a roller coaster journey. And due to open source contributions and a bit of competitive programming, I got an opportunity in BrowserStack, and I'm pretty happy.
Vaibhav, as you was my student, I already know you. You were good, even though you are saying you were average student. But maybe you are not very much into in the coding and data structure till the third year. So what changed in your third year or final year? Then you get so much into in your open source projects and a GSoc project.
Okay, so to start with that, one of my friend introduced me to GSoc. He called me in the late evening that, Vaibhav, do you know about GSoc? I said, I don't know. Tell me more about it. So he said, just watch a video on YouTube, just search GSoc journey, how to apply to GSoc. Then I went ahead and watched that video. It tells more about open source contribution and what are the benefits. The first benefit was that you will get stipend, $3,000. That clicked my mind. I want that. Who denies to the money? Always free. Also the money which you love to code, basically. For that, how should you deny? And the another benefit is that you will get an awesome job opportunities like in product-based company, which I wanted it. And also during that time, placement was going on and companies are coming to campus, but it was not that good placement. It's like an average package, like 4 or 5 lakhs. I wanted a good package, like above 12 lakhs. That's what my vision is. So that kick-started me. I went ahead and did research. Then I came to know about open source thing, and I contributed to open source. Did GSoc, did participate in a competition called Codeheat. Did my first international travel to Singapore to collect my medal because I was a top contributor there. Attended Fcaebook Hackathon. Got internship at Amazon Web Service, which was a dream company for me, to be honest. So that's pretty much. And also because of open source contribution, I got invited to BrowserStack to apply for one of their positions. And fortunately, I got selected, and now I'm at full time in BrowserStack.
Like till the third year, you said you were average student. But how did you start your journey in open source community? Because many of the students that time thinks they are not good enough to contribute, or they are not good enough to implement that kind of problem. So what do you suggest to them?
For me, it was the same thing. Like I was also thinking that same time, but there are a lot of answers on Quora. So when I did a research like what is GSoc, what is open source contribution, how it's beneficial for a university grad, or basically you can say a person who don't have much coding experience, that how it is for a person to participate in GSoc. So these were the questions are already answered by many people on the Quora, and I find very much relativity in the answers because many people are like me. They were not good at coding, or they were good at coding but they started pretty much early and they were earning from the second year itself. Like they're earning that stipend from second year itself, and they participate in GSoc 2 or third time. So I was like, if they can do it, then why can't I? Like, what's the difference between them and me? So that kicked me internally, and I was like, I have to do it because I think I'm good enough to crack that thing, and I have the determination. So I started to explore more about it, came to know about open source help community, and started my journey with that.
Vaibhav told us brief about how it started. You can watch the full 2 hours video to how anyone can start a journey in open source projects. The link would be in the description. So this way you started. So you were also selected for top contributor in a Codeheat, which is quite prestigious. You were starting at that time only. And what changed in 2-3 months that you became the top contributor?
So after my first contribution in open source help community, I learned a framework called Django, which is in Python, and I was looking to contribute for basically the main thing which I was looking for is to get into GSoc. So I just went ahead and go to GSoc website, check the past organization which participated in GSoc 2000. I did GSoc in 2018. That means I went ahead and looked for the GSoc 2017 organizations, and FOSSASIA was one of them. And their project was looking much easier for me because they were mostly around Python, and Python was the main language which I was working for. So I thought that FOSSASIA was the organization which I'm looking for, and I went ahead and gone to their website. In their website, there was a header. In the header part, they were saying that there's a similar competition going on at that time, similar to GSoc, to kickstart the career of open source contribution. So that was like a boon for me because I was looking for something like that, and then I further read that if you win that, if you're a top contributor in that competition, then you will be invited to Singapore for international travel. And I was like, why not? Why shouldn't I? So
It is a great motivation for you.
Yeah, that was a great motivation for you. That's correct. Because international travel, I was looking for international travel because I'm seeing lot many Facebook posts like people are going to visit London, US, and Singapore. So I was like, I should also go, but how could I bag that opportunity? So that was the opportunity for me lying ahead of me. So I started my contribution from Codeheat. So I have to first apply in Codeheat, and selection in Codeheat was pretty much easy because I explained on how I crave for open source contribution, how much I am into open source contribution, and because of my such journey, I think they liked my profile and they admitted to their program, and I went ahead with my journey.
One more thing I want to ask. Many students think they should learn this language, that language, this tool, that tool. So what do you suggest before going to the open source or GSoc? What should they learn? They should stick what they already know and ready to learn new thing during the project, or first they need to learn so much thing and then go for the GSoc or open source community?
In my honest opinion, there are a lot many people with different languages already exist, and there are many organizations which participate with different language framework like C, C++, Java, you name them. In my opinion, like students should stick to the language which he already knew, but he shouldn't be reluctant to learn new things. If he like, let's say for example, let's take an example because example is a better way to explain. Let's say I know Python for now, and I applied for an organization called let's say X organization, and in that X organization there's a project based on Python, but there's some knowledge required in C or C++ for the, let's say, driver for Mac OS or Linux or Windows systems. So I shouldn't be reluctant to learn that language because in open source contribution, your whole point is that you learn and grow and with the community. And to be honest, community will also help you if you want to eager to learn because they need help and you're helping them. So it's both way win-win situation for you because open source communities are looking for developers who can contribute, who can maintain, and who can future take responsibilities, and you're taking that responsibility. So I think you should basically learn new framework, but not for the sake of GSoc or not for the sake of any competition.
Okay, so that means you are suggesting whatever we know, we should start our journey with the open source community, and we should be ready to learn new technology, new language, whatever it requires, and learn at that the journey itself.
Correct. So what I was saying is that you should start with one language or framework which you already know. but you should be ready to learn new things or new framework or new language, and you should grow. Like you should grow in that community with that thing. That start with one thing and learn other things. You should be not like jack of all trades and master of none. It should be like you should ace that particular language so that nobody better knows that thing from you. Let's say if I put a question on Android and you will like, yes, I know that. So that's the thing which we wanted in companies. That's the company recruiter looking for. So that's the thing which you should aim for.
Vaibhav, you were also selected for Facebook Hackathon, which was most of the time for their internal employees only, and at that time only they started for whole students and other community as well. So
Correct.
How was you selected that time? Even though you were not working that time, I think you were a student only.
Correct. So as I said, I just saw the post for Facebook F8 in my Facebook profile itself, that one of my known friend who was selected for F8, and she posted it on Facebook. I asked her like what it's all about, and she told me that it's the hackathon and it's a one-time opportunity where you will also be participating in conference and networking with others. So it was like it's an awesome opportunity and I should also apply for. So I asked like how can I apply? Is the deadline is over or not? So she told me all the procedures, and the procedure was simple. It talks about like how is your developer journey. They wanted to know like what is one thing which you failed, but you what you can say is that they wanted to know journey of yourself, like if you failed at one thing, then how you achieved it by cracking that thing basically. And also before that time I was developing the website for a conference in my university where I used Facebook technologies like Facebook frameworks and itself. So they asked that thing, so that added to my profile, and after that I applied to the F8 website, and one day I got a mail that I'm selected for that.
That means to be selected in the Facebook, you have plenty in your bucket, like open source project, GSoc project. I think that that time you were pursuing the GSoc project, is it?
Correct. I was pursuing. I was not pursuing the GSoc project because GSoc project was about to start after I came from the hackathon. So it was more of a like open source contribution which helped me a lot in my application, because that's the only thing I talked in the application, that how I kickstarted my journey in open source contribution and how keen I am to learn new things.
You are in the 8 people in whole India who were selected for the Facebook Hackathon just because of your open source projects, your contribution in the open source project, and you got the opportunity to visit the Silicon Valley. So
correct.
How was it? How the Silicon Valley is actually?
So it was pretty exciting to land in San Francisco and walking on the Silicon Valley and seeing people around. To be honest, that was a wonderful experience for me. I met lot of new people, lot of people who are acing in different technologies and all, and they have projects around, like they are working and they are pretty much intrigued with it. It was like everyone in Silicon Valley is down to earth, and nobody will talk like they are CEO. After talking to a moment, you were like, oh, I'm talking to a CEO of a particular company, or I'm talking to CEO of a particular, let's say, startup. So it was like that only. So
you got any opportunity to meet the celebrity like Zuckerberg or?
Yes, I got an opportunity to meet Mark Zuckerberg in person. So that's what wonderful for me. And yeah, that's pretty much because I think Facebook F8 opened lot many gates for me in my career, because I know a lot of people because of that.
You have done so much while your final year itself. Within a 1 year period, you've done a lot of things like open source contribution, GSoc, Facebook F8 Hackathon. And so what do you think, that's good enough to land a product-based company, to find a job in a product-based company with a good package?
I think so, yes, because I think product-based companies are looking for people who can actually, who are not just a developer for the namesake. They are developer and they can actually contribute to code, and they are coding from a long time. So I think that 1 year obviously contributed in my opinion, in my career. Because of that time in Stack, and in Stack, in interview itself, I got appreciation for that I contributed to open source. And also during my last year of the college, I'm pretty much focused on making GitHub profile my resume. Instead of saying that I have a resume, I was saying that my GitHub is my resume. So that was my aim, and I did succeeded because I developed a library which now counts have 80k users. So 80k people already use my library. Although I didn't contribute it too much right now, but yeah, I'm seeking to update that library. But yes, that's what signing in that at that time in my resume, that I have a open source library which is used by 10k people at that time, and it grown to 80k. And another thing was that every time I did any project, I just upload it on GitHub. I would say everyone should upload all their personal projects or all their side projects on GitHub, instead of assuming that I have written a bad code or I have run such a shitty code. You shouldn't think about it, first of all. Like, it's not your it's not that you are a bad coder or bad programmer or bad developer. It's just that at that time you don't know about how to optimize or how to write a clean code. Because writing a clean code learned by experience, not by learning new framework or new languages or any from you can't learn clean code from any blog, let's say. Because you can see a lot of blogs floating around the internet and which talks about clean code, but you can't learn that thing because it's learned by experience. So I would say upload all your projects to GitHub, make that your resume. Instead of sending your resume to recruiters, say that my GitHub is my resume, please look at it. And I think all the technical recruiters feel free to basically talk to you because you have lot many contributions on GitHub and you have already worked on lot many side projects. It do matter, I would say. So just work on your side projects and yeah.
All the students in tier or third tier engineering college, and that's why they are not selected in the product-based company. But Vaibhav is an example of it, that if your GitHub profile, your open source contribution is good enough, then you will be shortlisted for the interview, and rest you can explain in the interview. So you can nail the interview. So Vaibhav, tell us about it. How could we shortlist in the product-based company? Like, you are in the tier 2 or tier 3 college. So it was, or you can say you were the first batch of your college, so there was not much of that opportunity. How the impact of these things in your resume, we can say?
I would say college doesn't matter, because in my resume I was making points like I have did internship in AWS, so that's the first star thing which is in my resume. And the second thing was open source contribution and participation in hackathons. That itself speaks for myself, that how much keen to learn things and how much keen I am to code, basically. That was speaking directly in my resume. So I think
and GitHub library
yeah, so I think students basically what I would say is students should not think about these things, because opportunity is at your step. It's just that you're not taking a rightful step for that opportunity. It's not like that a IITian or an IITian would only get into Google. Google doesn't discriminate by college. It's just that they go to their college because they will get student very easily by making much less effort. That's why they go to RIT or IITs. That's why they don't come to tier 2, tier 3 college. That doesn't mean that they will not select you if I apply for them. So I would say that make your profile interesting, by working on side projects, or why really. So by side project, I doesn't mean that just make copy of Dropbox or what other people are doing. Make something unique. Like let's say you have an idea and you want, let's say you have a startup idea, or you have a, let's say a small product idea. Just make it and just release on GitHub, or just release a website on that and ask people to subscribe it. Release on Product Hunt, release on Hacker News. There are a lot of platforms available in the market where you can release your projects, and just link them to your resume while sending to the recruiter. That itself speak about you, that how much keen you are. Google is looking for developers who can learn and grow and can help them grow. So that's what Google or Amazon or Facebook is looking. And if you have about, like if you have credibility, that much credibility, that means I think so you can crack, you can get your resume shortlisted in Google, Facebook, or London. Google, Facebook, or Amazon. So also, I would say that cold emailing technique is one of the things you should look for, because as an tier 2 or tier 3 college, it's lot difficult to contact to technical recruiter. So there are a lot of techniques which it's already there in it's already there online. I will share the link, and I think Viomesh sir can basically link in description for that.
So you got the jobs because of your project. So your interview was also based on your projects. But most of the company take coding and data structure interview in India specifically. So what do you suggest? Students should learn coding and data structure, or they can only rely on the projects?
I think so. Data structure is always important, because the first round itself is coding interview, and if you don't ace the coding interview, you will not get forward. So I think only doing projects will not help you. In my case also, after getting an opportunity like called by Rostec, I have to give that data structure round. So that means the first round was on the hacker rank itself. So I was not good I was not a competitive programmer. I can't say that I was doing Code Chef or hacker rank or something like that, but I did practice it. Like I can ace it. I can ace the interview. So that's the practice I had. I was not. I still can't say that I'm a competitive programmer, but yeah, if I have to crack that first round, and I can easily do that. That's how much I learned from that thing. So I would say that little bit of data structure knowledge, like practicing it, would always help you. Like always practice on LeetCode or any other website. Just choose one website and practice on that. That's what it matters. And after practicing it, just work on your projects. So both can help you in acing job in product-based companies.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you very much for your time and sharing wonderful experiences.
Thanks, sir. That's a privilege for me to interviewing with you and in this channel. So it's a very privilege for me. And thanks for asking me. There's a link in the description which talks about open source journey and GSoc journey.